Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Okay, just so you know, um, there's no microphone to like get the audio to go out, and we're trying to get a hold of AJ to find out why there's no microphone. So hang on there or hang in there for a minute, please.
Can anybody hear me in the backstage right now? Can I get a thumbs up if I can be heard?
I can't hear you.
Test 1, test 2. Am I being heard in the backstage? Well, now Audition is working. Test 1, test 2.
Nope, Catherine said no. Can't hear.
Test 1, test 2. Can anybody hear me in the backstage?
I can hear you.
All right, we're going to try this again, folks.
Spin the wheel, truth unrolls. 365, burning holes. In elastic stitch like seams. Pull the threads, unravel dreams. Eyes wide open, can't unsee. Chains they wrapped in secrecy. Freedom whispers loud and bold. Feel the heat, this truth ain't cold. Till that Thursday like a flame. Sparks ignite, don't play the game. Rip it open, break the mold. Truth is fire, truth is gold. Open Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Rippin' Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy. Eyes like daggers cut the dark. Blazing trails ignite the spark. We're the thunder in the storm, breaking free from their old norm. Take that Thursday like a flame. Sparks ignite, don't play the game. Rip it open, break the mold. Truth is fire, truth is gold.
Good evening and welcome to Tin Hat Thursday. It is Thursday, July 30th, 2026. I'm Screech Owl Scott,
And I'm Red.
and we're coming to you live from our perch high above the western shores of Lake Michigan, where we will be screaming 360 degrees of truth. We want to thank you for joining us on Tin Hat Thursday, even though we're a half hour late, and hope that you will join us at our normally scheduled time at 8 p.m. each and every Thursday night. You're listening on Rumble and you're still with us or on YouTube, we invite you to hop on over to rippandrabbithole.com and join the rest of Tin Hat Nation in the VIP Backstage Lounge. The Backstage Lounge is free and always will be. Go to rippandrabbithole.com. Click on the Backstage 24/7 Lounge in the taskbar. Scroll down a bit until you see the Backstage Lounge and click on the big red Enter Now button. Allow the permissives, put in your name, and join the fun. Just remember to keep yourself muted until the show ends. Listen to the show and then hang around for some spirited discussion with others. The Backstage Lounge is a great place to meet new friends and talk about anything that you want to. And we can speak from experience when we say that you will often find screech owls deep into the early AM hours. That is rippandrabbithole.com. RIPPONRABBITHOLE.com. Well, that was an adventure to start the show. Everything was working earlier when we did the test on the audio, and then when we hit the start streaming button, our audio went to hell.
Well, it's not on YouTube or Rumble for whatever reason either. And
well,
I know you started it, so
it is what it is, Red. At this point, we're just going to get through this show and call it a night. But
it's already been a heck of a night.
It's been a hectic night. First of all, we're kind of changing up a little bit. We'll get to some of this stuff eventually, but we do want to ask for prayers for our neighbor and friend of the show, Christine, who left by ambulance a short time ago. And so we've been dealing with that on top of trying to get ready for the show. So just hold Christine in your prayers this evening for that the doctors can determine what's causing her problems and get her fixed up so she can tune back in next week.
Absolutely. I'm still reeling from that, so I apologize.
So first and foremost, that's above everything else. And the other thing that, we have to be flexible when we do this, Red. We think we're going to talk about one thing, and then we probably didn't give it enough airtime last night.
No, we didn't.
And because we dedicated so many shows to what happened to the people in Tennessee and North Carolina from the devastation from Hurricane Helene and what happened right here in our backyard deserved more airtime.
They did. Yes, they do.
Than what we gave it last night. And we apologize for that. Because, Red, you and I, that's what we're about. We're about helping people first and foremost. Yes. And we dropped the ball last night, I think. We got caught up in some things that were happening, and we dropped the ball. So tonight we're going to...
Yeah, we definitely apologize for that, because that's not us. Anybody that knows us, that's not us to drop the ball like that.
We're going to switch it up a little bit. The promo went out, and AJ told me there's a story that is highlighted on the rippandrabbithole.com, and we're encouraging everybody to go to rippandrabbithole.com and check out that lead story that is there about the tornado that struck northeast Wisconsin just a few days ago. And they've got a mess. And I'm going to play, the first thing we're going to do, Red, is we're going to play the video. It is about 8 or 9 minutes long, but it's going to show you, folks that are listening, it's going to show you the tornado itself, and it's going to show you the aftermath of the tornado. And then we're going to talk about some incredible people who have stepped up, Red, to meet the challenge, the challenge that these folks are faced with. Mm-hmm. So let's play that video first. I won't say enjoy the video because it's
not one to enjoy.
No, but we are going to play it for you now. With any luck at all, we're going to play it for you now.
Yeah. That's it.
listening to this that these guys are storm. So when they sound excited, they've got nothing to escape.
Look at down! Debris coming down!
Get ripped up.
Ripped up. You know, they're reporting on storm.
Right side, rear full jet! Tornado! Look at the debris back there! Huge debris! Left side, get back!
Yeah, I can't get in the back.
Car stop! Look at the damage right side!
Shit.
Big time damage! Tornado! Tractor trailer in front of us! God! Big damage! Tornado! Right side, rear full jet! Tornado! Look at the debris back there! Left side, get back! Car stop! Look at the damage right side! Big time damage! Tornado! Tractor trailer in front of us! God! Big damage! Tornado! Down the right! We got it!
And this is the aftermath of that tornado now. This is just, you know, within hours of that tornado striking in Menasha. These are homes and businesses, people, that in some cases completely destroyed.
You know, we've seen some houses where they were literally torn off their foundation and kind of not facing forward on the property anymore, and they're actually sideways leaning up against the house next door to it. I don't know if it'll be in the video though.
Literally, folks, this went from what you just saw with the dark clouds and the tornado striking to it was only a matter of a couple hours and the sky was blue. And these people,
Sunset is happening here in Menasha, Wisconsin, one of the hardest hit communities from the very large destructive tornado. You can see a lot of these large, well-built homes that are totally destroyed here in town, and you can see large trees as well, vehicles that are upside down. This shows you the force of the tornado, likely multiple vortex tornado when it came through. Looks to be about a mile wide, so definitely a very wide tornado, but had a tighter inner core, more extensive damage. You can see the worst damage here is on the higher topography of this community just in the south of Appleton, Wisconsin, and this thing happened at noon, very early for these destructive tornadoes to happen, moved off to the southeast, and a very strong inflow is feeding into the storm, so we knew it was a surface-based storm, but you can see the recovery effort has begun here in town. No power, and the water filtration plant was heavily damaged, so definitely a boil order is in play here. As you can see, total destruction, one of the worst, hardest hit areas to the south of Appleton here, Menasha, Wisconsin.
we talked briefly about this last night, very briefly, and I mentioned that my grandparents' home that they lived in when I was a young boy was completely destroyed in this tornado. I have a former coworker. She and her husband had retired from the paper making industry and bought a been there for a half a century, and their business is now it's shut down. I think their plan is to rebuild, but folks, this devastated people's lives. You can see this is like a war zone.
Absolutely. And there was some aerial footage of the area, and down the road you could see the power lines crisscrossing the road on both sides, or from both sides. And then of course you see the cars turned over, and there's nothing that I can say to put into words to describe what we're seeing.
I know that some of the people in the backstage have family that live in Menasha.
Yes.
I have family. I have nieces. Now, their homes weren't destroyed, but they lost trees in their yards, and they'll easily.
Right.
But this impacted such a big area.
Well,
so many people.
we've made so many friends over there that have become family.
It's just tragic, and I can't imagine, for someone who went to work that morning and they came back and this is what they're coming back to now. And that's the end of the video. And I do apologize for the excitement that was being shown by these storm chasers.
My local mayor wanted to sue me after he saw what I did with this new pressure washer. There's a new power wash nozzle out there, and it's the most brutal cleaning tool you'll ever own. But here's the bad news. In just a few weeks, regulators will force the only company that makes it to completely...
Nobody was killed in that. I've heard there's injuries, but I don't think I heard any severe injuries, at least the last I had heard.
And no fatalities that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I don't believe there were any fatalities. And
I do know that night, Jacob Vanderplas was over there before his forum for the first Senate district, and he was trying to help with his chainsaw cutting the trees and stuff like that. And he wanted to return over there, but he didn't know if he would be able to go in, because they were not letting anybody in or out. And you're talking parents on the outside thinking, what do I do now? Because my kids are at home. How do I get to my kids?
And this is we can't confirm this, but told to us through Jake.
And that's what was told to him.
That there were still some children like in the basements of homes, and thankfully in Wisconsin most homes have basements, and people were able to get to their basements and take cover in their basements when this storm hit. Red and I live about 35 miles east of this area that was hit, almost due east, and the sirens began to go off in our town, Red, and the initial reports when I turned on the TV that day was that this storm was headed in a east-southeast direction, and we were just south of, or just north of the initial travel of this storm. Mm-hmm. And we were quite concerned, and of course we were praying.
My daughter called from work, and she's on the third floor of her office building, and she called and she's like, "Did you hear the siren?" I'm like, "Yeah, we heard the siren, but when she called, that's when the storm started to shift."
And it shifted very abruptly. It went, folks.
Yeah.
This thing, like I said, they were projecting this to travel east-southeast from the area of the direct hit that you just saw.
Yeah, at first it said Manitowoc, and I'm like, oh boy.
It took like a complete right turn, 90 degrees, and just started traveling south along Lake Winnebago.
And then it was heading towards Ripon, and we have many friends down in Ripon.
Kewaskum.
Yep.
And so thankfully they were just hit with some severe thunderstorms.
Yep, they said that they got rain, and that's about it. But I'm holding my anxiety thing right now because of that video, and
it's a mess. It's a mess, and the cleanup continues. And what we want to talk about tonight is I think, number one, thankfully, no lives were lost in this storm.
Right.
But I think we have to celebrate the good that can come from this. The people of Menasha are a resilient people, like we see anytime these things are happen around the country, folks pick up and they come together, and
Yep.
nobody comes together like people Wisconsinites.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because when you think back, Red, when we did those stories about Hurricane Helene, and we had groups that were collecting semi-trailer full of supplies to send to
a different state.
to another state, and Helping Hands
People
Disaster
came
Relief
together
and Tennessee, North Carolina
like you
Strong. I
wouldn't
mean,
believe.
they supplied what, nearing 100
Yep.
campers for
And
the
actually, I
people that were.
just seen a post today from JJ with Helping Hands Disaster Relief saying that they have 2 campers right now to get ready to go to whoever. So,
And
you
there
know,
are
they're still going strong.
and there are people right here in Northeast Wisconsin now who can maybe utilize those campers,
Oh, absolutely, they can.
you know, in the short term. Obviously, it's a little different here in Wisconsin. We've got
Yes.
brutal winters that are, you know, only months away now.
Well, yeah, tomorrow's
but
August 1st, so
but
it's like, oh boy.
uh,
But yeah,
and
we can obviously. I've been told that they've gotten a ton of water, so they're more focused on other items right now.
So let's point out a little bit, Red, before you hit that list. Let's talk about the fact that Leslie and Chris, who were a part of that very first effort in Tennessee and North Carolina, and Kevin Burkle, I saw that Kevin has stepped up again.
Yep,
And
I seen
those
the
folks
semi-trailers getting ready to.
those folks in Green Bay
They're collecting
are
again.
collecting, and they're collecting for their neighbors now, just 30 miles south of Green Bay, or 15, whatever that distance is.
Yeah.
And people are coming together, and people are sharing it on Facebook. We've got Helping Hands Disaster Relief, who
Thank you, Corey.
they're starting to.
And Corey posted pictures of what Chris and Leslie are doing.
2 incredible women
Yep,
who earned tin
absolutely.
hatsies.
Yep.
For their efforts.
Well, all 4 of them
Yeah,
that we mentioned
yes.
did. Kevin Burkle,
JJ Winnemiller.
Yep.
Chris
Mooring,
and Leslie
Frank.
They all won tin hatsies, or earned tin hatsies for their efforts.
Yes.
In that,
for their humanitarian effort. And you know what? They're stepping up big time again.
They're stepping up again. But you know what? They inspired other people. So Operation 6/8, that we called it back then.
Yep.
Who's gonna step up? Here I am, Lord.
Yes.
And
send me.
And
I also will say that JJ said, if anybody needs our equipment that I have, because of his actual business.
Right, because he does snow removal, and he does landscaping and things like that. So he's got access to excavators,
and a skid steer, and he's got dump trucks. He does not have a wood chipper, which Jacob was hoping to find. But we got him in touch with JJ, so hopefully they got together,
and people like JJ not only can provide the equipment, but can provide the crews to go in there and help, and people who are trained to operate that equipment. But you know, it inspired.
And they've also inspired Mr. and Mrs. Witchow.
Yeah, so our, dear friends of ours on a personal level, but also friends of the Ripon Rabbit Hole, Tammy and Rob from Green Lake, have stepped up themselves,
and they're taking donations from noon to 6 tomorrow at Crossroads Market in Green Lake, Wisconsin. And they're asking for non-perishable items, toiletries, baby formula, and baby food.
And anything really, I know it's going to get to a point where anything you can spare. This is what they're calling for. The immediate needs are those. But keep in mind, folks, and if you've got a few extra bucks that you can slide that way, and they're asking people to make sure you document all the damage,
Yep. And that's in the article that AJ posted on the ripinrabbithole.com, and it's the featured article on the front page. So just go to ripinrabbithole, HOLE.com, and you will see the featured story right there on the front page.
And read that story, folks. And if you've been impacted by this storm, and I know the last thing you're thinking about is reading an article in Ripon Rabbit Hole, but if you know somebody who's been impacted by this storm,
and the article, it'll say Menasha tornado recovery, and it's called DEBS, DEB''S, SOS from Menasha, help tornado victims. And it will give you a list of things that people in the affected area needs to do.
Scroll up just a minute, Red. What was that? And it was to report storm damage, call 211, and there's also a telephone number. Can you read that number, Red? I know you're putting it in there, but there's a phone number
No.
associated with that.
Yep, just 1 second. 920-236-7463, which is the Winnebago County Emergency Management.
And we need to make sure that all of the damage associated with the storm are documented somewhere.
Yes.
Because it's going to go a long way in securing relief, but also in determining at some point here they're going to determine what the tornado was, and they said it was at least an EF3,
but it could change and be upgraded
to an EF4.
So that's one reason why they want the documentation.
Right.
And
pictures
Governor Evers did declare a state of emergency, so that would be able to get some federal assistance. I believe that's how that works.
And I'm going to point out some of the comments that are coming in, and folks,
they cannot accept money in Green Lake.
But there are places
like JJ can
accept money.
Yep, because that is a 501c3. So
and I'm sure there are banks collecting money on behalf of the folks who need the help. And there's a lot of help needed, folks. I mean, think about it. Another dear friend of ours, her son and daughter-in-law live in Menasha, in the area that was hit. Now their home wasn't destroyed, but these folks were without power, and they had just purchased like a side of beef and a bunch of I don't know, half a pig, whatever it was.
Yep.
And that was in their freezer, and now many of these
places
struggle
to hurry up and get it out of there and get it
without
refrozen.
Power. So now think about you have that ongoing problem of losing food, and
yep.
That's the last thing you need.
No.
And this was terrible. There were gas leaks, as you might imagine, all over. I mean, I'm told you could smell the natural gas in right
several
after the
locations.
Storm. Red, we do have a break, and let's take advantage of the break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this. And we're going to open it up because I want to hear from, if Rob is listening, I want to hear.
He's listening.
I want to hear what Rob is doing in Green Lake and what inspired him to do that. But very quickly on the break, Red, I'm going to try and put our graphics up for our break. Let's see here. Don't forget, folks, to mark your calendar for the second annual Liberty Summit, which is taking place September 25th and 26th at the Holiday Inn and Suites in Rothschild. Registration is now open. Book your rooms because I know they're going quickly. Is what I'm told, Red. So get in.
They are booking quick.
We've got this is going to be another full day of a social event on Friday night. I think I haven't seen the itinerary, but I think it's going to be more of a social gathering on Friday night where we're going to just connect with people that we may not see all that often, but we talk to through social media platforms.
So on Friday night is going to be the social hour, like you said, a meet and greet with fellow patriots, candidates, and incumbents. There is going to be a cash bar, it says. And then on Saturday, there's a full day of the summit with, there's 3 different levels of tickets. I think, 3. Individual, full access, which gives you Friday, Saturday. Saturday, you get a full day at the summit with an executive box lunch. It does not include the Saturday evening dinner and keynote speaker. So if you go to the VIP ticket, that includes whatever I just said, and it also includes the evening dinner with the keynote speaker. Or you can gather 8 friends technically 7 friends together and get a table. And
a table of 8.
Yep, it holds a table.
The table is $1,000, so you split that. a table of 8. And
Yes.
we were at the Liberty Summit last year, Red, and it was a great time. It's going to be a great time this year.
Yes.
Of networking.
And you're going to be the MC.
And I get to be the MC this year.
So Mr. Screech Owl Scott is going to be the MC.
So, and I've already got some things in mind.
Yes.
Because obviously I have to infuse my personality into this.
Oh, trust me, he's infusing it.
I've got a few things in mind that will just hopefully bring everybody a little fun and enjoyment in between speakers. Then, very quickly, this other one, Red, that we have to talk about, this happens before the Liberty Summit.
And just so you know, I think his infusing it as an MC, maybe I need to remind him this isn't an award show.
Okay.
Let's just give you that hint.
Okay. Anyway, and I'm not giving out any awards.
No, but you'll see if you're there at the summit, you'll see what I mean when you're there. That's all I'll say.
But in any event, I don't have the graphics for the other event. It's the Manitowoc County Patriots are hosting Harry Waite, who's traveling to Northeast Wisconsin to share his story, because it was now just 4 years ago, Red, almost to the day.
Yeah, almost. Well, we're past the day, actually.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I said almost to the day.
Right.
That Harry ordered the ballots, and we all know what happened with Harry's story. And Harry's bringing his story to Northeast Wisconsin. If you've never met Harry, this is
August 26th.
August 26th at the Holiday Inn in Manitowoc, hosted by the Manitowoc County Patriots. You and I will be live that night.
We're going to do a remote live.
And
it's right off the freeway, right off of Highway 43.
Very convenient, and they're celebrating the American 250 potluck that night. So if you're able to bring a dish to pass, go ahead. But if not, just come and eat and listen to Harry. And there will be a Q&A following Harry's presentation. So you'll be able to ask the man, the myth, the legend,
the hero,
any questions that you have for him, and he will happily answer them. And he's a great guy, and this is an opportunity for Northeast Wisconsin to come together and not only support the Manitowoc County Patriots, but to also meet Harry Waite.
Yep. And thank you for putting that in the chat, Corey. The
promo. Thank you, Corey.
And I really like how Barb described what they did to Harry. She said he was trying to expose something to help save not only our state but our country, and they ended up he was victimized.
He was. And
now Harry doesn't act like a victim, because that's not Harry, but instead of being called a hero or a watchdog or whatever you want to call it, whistleblower, watchdog, doesn't matter. She's right. They did victimize him and prosecute him.
And anyway, it'll be a great night in Manitowoc. You and I will be going live.
Barb Bittner, Corey.
You and I will be going live about 6:30 from the Manitowoc. That's when the event starts at 6, a half-hour social hour or social half hour, and then the presentation will start. So we'll go live about 6:30 when Harry starts presenting to the group, and we'll be on air as long as it takes for the questions. So if you can't attend in person and you want to watch the event virtually, you'll be able to ask Harry questions through us that will be heard live.
Absolutely.
On We the People Wednesday. So looking forward to that. Mark your calendars.
Said, the two candidates in the state senate 1st district that really knew the story about what happened with Harry. So I want to give them both a shout out. You have Jacob Vanderplas, and he's running for state senate in the 1st senate district, and one of his opponents is Barb Bittner for state assembly in the 1st district as well. The other two, they said they knew him, or not knew him, heard of him, but didn't really know the story. So to me, that shows the two candidates that were awake enough and care enough about elections to pay attention to when people tell them what happened. The other two, in my opinion, they probably just didn't have the gumption or whatever you want to call it to, hey, let's check out this Harry Waite guy and see what he did. So, do they care about elections?
Well,
I don't know.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know Harry Waite, and that's our job.
Yep.
And that's why we're really going to promote the hell out of this event in Northeast Wisconsin.
Yep. And I will say that Barb Bittner, she's taking kind of a leave of absence, I guess you could say, as the chair of the Calumet County Republican Party. That's when we met her and educated her on Harry, and she obviously has told her members about him and what happened.
Yeah, they're pretty informed in Calumet County.
Yes.
There wasn't
So I
anybody
have to give her big props for putting it out there and making sure her members are aware of what happened,
right.
instead of all the lies you see on social media.
Okay, so let's see if Mr. Robbie Witch Owl
you're gonna make him mad.
is in the backstage. Rob,
he told you last night not to call him that.
Flip and Rip and Rob, are you in the backstage tonight?
Yes, he is. He just commented.
Do you have access to a microphone? I know you may have had some other plans.
Nope.
If I had access to a mean emoji, I would have given that.
Rob, I said that because I was listening to you last night.
He wanted to get your attention.
I knew it was the opportunity to say
But-
welcome to the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, Rob. And so, Rob, you've taken it upon yourself. Number one, can you tell our listeners why you stepped up and secured trailers and now are investing the time to do what you're doing?
Oh, very easily. It all stemmed from the fact that I saw a simple, well put together posting on Facebook from the chief of police for Watoma. And he was just kind of making a challenge that he emptied out his squad truck bed and said, I'm going to Culver's and we're accepting donations of water and Gatorade because we found out that the volunteers of the Fox Cities is requesting that is what they need at this time. And I then in turn thought not to talk on a bad note about Green Lake, but the unfortunate events that happened last year with the guy that faked his own death, that kayaker.
Right.
But I will take a positive out of it that I saw the rallying support of this community that donated food, water, Gatorade, supplies to all the first responders and officers and such that had days off that they had to come in anyway. And it was so hot for that month that we donated a minuscule, 4 to 6 cases of water. It was something, you know. And I thought, well, why can't this community do the exact same thing for a better, bigger cause? And I did draw inspiration, not to call you out, but I'm going to, and name you, Scott and Jenny and Corey B, for all your efforts that you guys did and the relief efforts that you did for the southern states that were affected by the floods. And I thought, it's the least I can do. So I started off with contacting the local chief of police of the city and just brainstorming. And I went to the Chamber of Commerce and spoke with her. And I went to the sheriff of our county. And I had to kind of ruse him a little bit because I had to show him how another officer of the law was doing something. So I wanted to kind of get his goat a little bit. And so he's like, I'm on board, whatever you need. And so then I went to a major company in this town, Flash Trucking, And besides the trucking company, they also own the local grocery store. And I said, what can you guys do? And they had a suggestion to bring a trailer to the grocery store. I'm like, great idea. They go in, they purchase something, they can drop off something. And I contacted my American Legion commander, and I told him what I was foreseeing of doing, and they immediately had a secret meeting, if you will, with executives, and they donated immediately $250, which I thought was so cool because I've been promoting, if you guys know me, 250-year celebration, 250. So they donated $250 towards purchasing water. And I submitted that request right away that night to the store with the assistant manager, and in turn, Flash Trucking came back with donating 4 pallets also of water. But then the next day, we find out that gears had changed and information was relayed that they're not accepting, necessarily not accepting, but they're asking, because I found out they have like 18 semi-trailers worth of water. They have too much water. So they're asking for Gatorade and non-perishables. So I was like, okay, I got to change gears here. You can rack and stack water bottles and Gatorade, but now I'm like, oh, non-perishables and clothing and whatever else. I'm like, all right, well, it's already out on the media groups. I can't stop. I got to do this. I contacted Corey B and asked for her advice. I tried reaching out to you guys for advice. You guys were not available. And I'm like, I'm doing this. And I told the commander of my Legion, I said, I'm doing this with or without the support of the Legion directly. I said, I have access to an enclosed trailer. Whatever you guys want to do. They didn't want to support it directly, but they indirectly gave the $250, so that kind of spearheaded it. We blasted it out on social media. We showed up today. Not to be a Debbie Downer or negative. I'm very thankful for everything we did get, but I was expecting like the pictures that Corey B shared. I was expecting that trailer to be loaded like right there. I mean, minus the 5 pallets of water that are now on hold until we can find the proper outlet to deliver those 5 pallets of bottled water. There wasn't a great showing today, so I'm anticipating tomorrow is going to be bigger and better because I got to change gears here, got to do a little more outreach, and I think tomorrow is going to be the hook, and hopefully we can load that trailer.
Awesome, and I agree, and Rob, a huge applause to you for taking it upon yourself to do this. This is what we do, and what's interesting is, we are deep into campaign season. We're a couple weeks out from a primary, and that was going to be the subject matter tonight. To talk about some of the stuff that's going on. But I want to ask you, when you were soliciting help, did you ever once say, are you a Republican or a Democrat when you asked people to help?
That's funny that you actually bring that up. A lady pulled up and gave us, a bunch of Gatorade and other things. And I ended up inadvertently knowing her because my wife started a program over a decade ago where she does a nonprofit charity of donating traditional holiday meals to the first responders and officers that are working the weekend or the day of holidays. And this lady, she always contributes and she's known for cheesy potatoes. Just throwing it in there. But she showed up today and she said, I'm on my way to the little white schoolhouse. Are you showing up, Rob? And I was like, no, this is more important than some guy grilling out brats and promoting his campaign. And she's like, I said, send pictures if you think it's worth it, whatever else. I said, but something was said. She stated something that she's like, do you think in times like this, thank you for what you're doing to collect all this, but do you think it matters what side of the left or right that you're on? However she said it, and I paused and I looked at her, I said, do you think whatever donations we get and this gets distributed, I said, do you think that the mass of people, maybe a majority of them or whatever percentage, I probably would disagree on so many platforms with them per their political views and opinions. But I said, at this point, does it matter? This is about the people.
Amen.
And
Exactly,
Amen.
Robin. And
Absolutely.
that was my point in asking this. You know, when push comes to shove, we are all neighbors, and
yes,
and we care about one another. We can argue about our political beliefs,
Later.
or
We can do it
the
later.
things that we disagree on, but when people are in need, we just come together. And it's unfortunate that we can't see that more in our day-to-day life, because we do see that division. But when things like this happen, people just set those differences aside, and they can work side by side, collecting goods and distributing goods, or cleaning up people's yards, or helping, in whatever way they can. And that's the beautiful thing that comes from a tragedy like this.
and one thing that was stated in the conversation, I said, I know you know what the Freedom Flame is about. And I said, do you think we discourage anybody? It's about unity, the Freedom Flame. And I said, we welcome every walk of life, anybody to unite for the freedom. I said, this is what this horrific tragedy has come down to. You unite and you find out what the community is about. And
Actually, you had a Democrat speak at the Freedom Flame, what was it, 2 years ago? And everybody welcomed him. It wasn't about, like you said, left or right. It's about freedom.
And Rob, I know you've been a big part of the Freedom Flame celebration for going on, what, 7 or 8 years now. You've been instrumental in rekindling that flame, and maybe, things like this, maybe this is what can bridge that gap a little bit. Maybe we can remember the people we're working with side by side now, and include them, and they will feel maybe more welcome, at those events. I'm amazed, and I'm really proud of you as a friend,
Absolutely.
for taking this upon yourself
We're honored to
to
call
do
you a
this.
friend.
And I noticed that your beautiful wife said earlier in this chat, she said,
Excuse me. About your
I
daughters.
think about her daughter, or your stepdaughters, whatever.
Daughters.
Yes, Tammy's daughters, that she works in the area of this storm, and how it was like the longest 5 minutes of her life as she waited to get in touch with her daughter, and
Two
so
daughters.
many other people. It's not just Tammy that encountered that. There were people. I mean,
Yep, 2 of our daughters were in this. Praise God they didn't get hit.
and I know Corey had spoken that she's got family in that area. I think it was Corey that
Yes,
said that.
yes,
And
yes. And a coffee shop, I believe no, that was a different area, sorry.
well,
But
actually, she misspoke, because all 3 daughters were, 2 of the daughters were in that line and direction. The third daughter was in St. Cloud. And you guys were talking earlier how it was projected to go to Ripon, which it did not. And it went to the Holy Land, and the sirens went off there. And I made sure to get in touch with her. So all three daughters at one point in time were in that immediate zone. So yeah, it was very. You just don't know. It's like you want to drive, you want to fix it, you want to take care of it, But now, at least everything worked out very well. And yes, I will say I'm discouraged by the results of today, but there's tomorrow. And no matter what we do produce, compared to Corey B's pictures, every little bit helps.
It absolutely does, Rob. Every little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't get discouraged because tomorrow is Friday, and a lot of people, that want to donate, a lot of them will be at work, so they won't be able to donate. But tomorrow's Friday. A lot of people take Fridays off, and it's payday. So
and people will have seen you out there now for a couple days, and they will be reminded when. So, Rob, can you tell our listeners where you're going to be staged tomorrow?
I can't give the grid coordinates, but I will say that I will be at Crossroads Grocery Store in Green Lake, Wisconsin. The official hours are noon to 6, but I know myself well enough that I will be there before noon and after 6, as long as things are happening.
Okay, and you said the name of the store was the Crossroads Grocery Store?
Crossroads Grocery Store. It's on the intersection of 23 and 44. It's a major intersection.
23 and 49.
Or excuse me, 49. Sorry, thank you, cuz 49
and
A.
All right, so I'm going to put out a challenge to all any listeners in Green Lake County, the folks in Ripon. You're just up the road, I'm talking Ripon, Princeton, Green Lake, Eureka, Oshkosh. I don't care where you are. Help Rob build this trailer.
Absolutely. And I don't know. Do we have plans tomorrow?
I don't think we do. Maybe we'll take a drive down to Green Lake and visit Rob and catch some video and I don't know. I'll make a fool of myself with a sign and try and help encourage some people to
bring some
drop something to fill that trailer full.
I had one lady show up, and I'm very personable, and I want to get to know people. Thank you isn't enough. So I asked their name, and I want to get a picture with them. One beautiful story was a lady came all the way from Fox Lake, and Fox Lake isn't the best. Getting from Fox Lake to Green Lake, they don't have the best roads. And I asked her, I said, how did you find out about this? And she's like, Facebook. And she donated 4 brand new laundry totes, 4 laundry detergents, 2 bags of dog food, and a nice tote size of non-perishables. And I was scrambling to get it in a box. Because when the shift came that they didn't want water anymore for right now, it shifted to the non-perishables. I'm like, oh no. I can't rack and stack Gatorade and water. I thought it was going to be something simple, Oh no. Well, I'm already out there. And so I went to the local Ace Hardware in Ripon and spoke with Luann. I dumpster dove out of her cardboard dumpster and grabbed as many boxes as I thought I could use. She donated shipping tape, and I started making these boxes, trying to kind of help those volunteers that when we do submit this, to make it easier and label it, you know.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you, Corey.
there was a pet supply. I didn't think about pets. The pet supply store, when I asked for boxes, will donate dog food, cat food.
Yep. Don't forget that.
And then my wife brought up formula. And one lady walked up and she's like, "What do you guys need?" And I said, "Ma'am," and she said, because I could not imagine being in that situation. I spun that question around back on her. I said, "What do you think you would need if you were in that situation?" I can't answer it. I can only give suggestions. But one thing that we don't have right now that was suggested by my wife and her friend was baby formula. She went into a high-priced grocery store because it's a tourist town, and she bought diapers, baby wipes, and baby formula. And she's like, "You hit my heartstring when you said kids." And I was like, wow.
And that's the thing. And you know, and those are the immediate needs. And these needs are going to go on for a long time. When you think back to when these people were helping the people of Tennessee and North Carolina who had lost homes, you know, we're less than 6 months away from Christmas, and
Right.
their lives aren't going to be completely put together by then.
Nope.
And
Nope,
at
they
some
won't.
point, we're going to be thinking about the kids again, because
Yep.
we're going to be thinking about toy drives to make
Toy
sure
drive.
that these kids, you know, parents they're not going to have the funds maybe to
Get
support
anything.
Christmas
Yep.
in the normal way, because you know, some of these people have to replace everything.
Yep. And you know, all the way down to, like Corey mentioned, don't forget toothbrushes, toothpaste.
and
You know, they're going to be thinking about those kinds of things. And kids, you know, especially little ones, they're going to wake up Christmas morning and think, "Did Santa forget me?" Because they're going to be trying to rebuild, you know. So
so this will
that
involve
get your mind thinking and watch sales and just kind of
the needs. The needs.
Another story to share with you guys is two older ladies showed up, and they had a nice big box, and it was already taped shut. And the lady talked about hygiene products, you know, soap and stuff like that, and whatever else. And then feminine products. And it sounded like there was a whole assortment in there. I opened the box up because I'm thinking I'm going to divide it, you know. And I looked at it, I'm like, this is so well packaged, and it's all hygiene stuff, and this is stuff that, yeah, you also need.
absolutely.
I put it back together, and just said, okay, I'm just going to designate it as hygiene. And they had a box of chocolate, heart-shaped box of chocolates in there with the hygiene products. I thought that was just a touch. It had that female touch of quality right there. I thought that was very nice. So when somebody opens that up,
well, yeah, because you think of the necessities, but then, you know, you don't think of the, like you said, the sweet touch, where you don't know what that heart, that chocolate is going to mean to somebody.
And you know,
they're gonna feel that love.
And you know, when they're doing the campers for those people that lost homes down there, you know, it can be the simplest little touch that they include in the campers.
Yep.
That they were doing originally, you know, a little wall plaque that says "Home Sweet Home," or what, you know, whatever it might be, just something that is not necessarily a need, but just gives them comfort.
It feels like they're, you know, a home instead of a trailer.
Corey made a couple good points that I want to point out. One is that one of the differences is going to be that insurance should cover most of these people, because we have insurance for things like tornadoes.
Yes.
And the people in North Carolina and in Tennessee, they didn't have flood insurance, and you know, so that was another issue. But I also want to point out, Rob, that let me shut this music off, because we're already long, and we may as well stay along for just a minute longer. I want to point out, Rob, because you mentioned that you
How can you be long when you started late?
That's what he's talking about.
Well, this was worth fighting through for, because
Absolutely.
people need to hear about this and need to hear the good side of what happened. But you talked about feeling a little discouraged by the amount collected today, and Corey said something that I'm just going to read for the audience that can't see it. And she said, "Anything you collect is greatly appreciated. Remember, Helping Hands Disaster Relief has developed a mighty team, but it started with one lady wanting to buy a camper, and that's the
Absolutely.
truth. We had one person,
One camper.
Leslie
had her on
and
the
her
show,
family. It was
and
God put it on their heart to buy a camper. That family, and what started with one camper to help one family
it's
grew
turned into
something so much bigger, because so many, 100 people, almost
Well,
100
I
families
believe it's around 90,
received
95,
a camper
somewhere in
to
there.
live in, and folks
87, sorry, and
and-
4 fire trucks.
and communities were given fire trucks, and the amount of supplies that went down there. And I'm gonna single out, and you mentioned them already, but Corey and Tommy and Heather and Jenny. These are
and Tammy
and,
went
and,
down to Tennessee.
and Tammy and that was, and Neil and Diane helping with that, and it just, these are
There's
people,
so many
and
people that we literally can't.
this is
There's a team cleaning these campers. They've got 2 campers now, right now, that they are going to be cleaning within the next day or so.
and this grew to something where JJ, all he has to do is say,
And the driving crews.
we've got a camper, and they've got a crew ready to clean it. They've got a crew ready to make the repairs, any repairs. And I'm telling you, it's from something, it's like everything in life, Red. We met most of these people at the time of COVID, which we were going to talk a little bit about tonight.
Yeah,
that's when we
and
began.
not to mention, how did we meet JJ? Leslie was going to bring down a camper, and she lost the transmission in her truck, but yet they couldn't. They needed a specific type of a vehicle to bring that camper down because it was a 5th wheel. So our dear friend Linda Conrad put a plea out on Facebook, and within a half an hour, JJ's like, "I'll come get it. I'll come right now." So he drove north to go get that camper and drove it all the way back.
700 miles south,
and he turned around, he got home, and he goes, "I need to do it again. I can't stop."
Yeah,
and he did it again and again and again. And he is the the one that said we need to get Helping Hands Disaster Relief Fund as a 501c3, because people were asking, can we, is this a tax donation?
And that's one thing that I can feel what you said by what they did, because I felt an immediate draw that I had to do this. And when I contacted my commander from the Legion, and I offered, like, hey, we can put that new banner that we made, I can put that on the side of my buddy's trailer, and the Legion can be represented that we're doing this effort. It was not received in the sense that, no, we don't want the Legion to be directly involved, but they still donated $250. And so I got to take the positive out of that, because then they also talked about, well, how are we going to get volunteers? It's hard enough. I said, I don't need any volunteers. I'm going to do all this myself, and I'm doing it with or without the Legion backing. I'm just letting you know that, Dick. I'm just offering. And what they did say is, come to find out, they were in contact, per my suggestion. They did reach out to the American Legion in that area. Their post is okay, but the VFW post was totally dismantled, gone. So I foresee them contributing to that, because we are a very rich Legion. They're going to keep it local to veterans, which I totally understand. Great thing. You donate where you designate that you think it's going to be the best worth. And I thank my American Legion for what they did contribute and what the foreseeable donation giving back to the community, because the VFW and the American Legion does so much.
And they do. And Rob, we are long. I do have to cut you off because, and maybe you can come on another episode and we can talk about this more, because I suspect that I suspect you're going to have more success the longer you stick with it, and I want to just give you total props for what you've done.
Our top hats are off to you, definitely.
Stepping up in Green Lake County to do this.
Well, like I said, I gotta give attention to, it was because of you and Jenny and Corey and everybody that you guys associate with, that AJ brought us collectively together for whatever reason. I found inspiration from all of you doing what you did for people out of state, that I said, I gotta do this here.
Well,
so my top hats off to all of you, but thank you.
All right, well, a lot of top hat tipping right now. Red, what I started to say was we met these people fighting during COVID. I mean, that's when in 2020, the election, and we had that in common. But as we got to know these people, we saw their hearts, and that's,
they became family, in my opinion.
They didn't become family because they agreed with us on COVID, or they agreed that there was some funky things going on with their elections.
Because we could see their hearts.
They became family, and people we came to love because they had big hearts. Because when people needed help, they stepped up to help.
Yep. And it, like you said, it didn't matter if they agreed with us or not politically. It was the humanity. That's what's important, and that's what people in politics lose sight of until something like this happens. And it should not take something like this to unite like that. Unite a country, unite a state, or whatever the case may be.
It shouldn't take that,
no.
but it unfortunately it does. So when things like this happen, I see people coming together.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful side of things. And you know what, Red? We were gonna talk about Anthony Fauci not talking at his hearings. We were gonna talk about,
I plead the fifth.
We were gonna talk about candidates dropping out.
Because I plead the fifth.
Because
do you think I can get 111 of them in?
Under the advice of my attorney, but
yes,
that's what we were going to talk about. And you know what? I needed this. I needed to fill my heart with goodness tonight, because I woke up this morning, and yesterday RJ was saying there's something funky with the energy in the world right now.
Yes, and boy, did I feel it today.
And I felt it, because I woke up. I thought I was in a good mood when I woke up, and then I was kind of crabby.
I know, and I was like, "What's wrong?" You're like, "I don't know." I woke up fine, but I
couldn't explain it. I just became kind of crabby, and I'm not accustomed to being an overly crabby person, but I was crabby today. Well, so I apologize to you that I was crabby today, but I needed this episode.
I was the same way most of the day until, and yes, I'm gonna say this, I do surprise jewelry, and our consultant stacks came out today, and they revealed one perfect one. It was the first one the person opened, and I had to go in and get it because it is an owl wearing a cowboy hat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that. So I had to say that cheered and you I cannot wait.
That cheered you up.
Yes.
And this show cheered me up. Not because people lost their homes and had their lives turned upside down.
It's because we are
I'm reminded
seeing the hearts
of the goodness in this world.
Yes,
and tonight I'm seeing something.
Friends and
we know Rob well enough to know that Rob's got a good heart. He'll give you the shirt off his back, and I knew that before. But I'm reminded how deep his love for
humanity is,
other people, and humanity is, and it's.
He always takes a back seat when it comes to something like this.
It fills my heart. It fills my heart
right.
tonight, and tonight I can say the energy that I'm feeling now,
right now,
is a whole lot different than what I was feeling all day today.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad we switched gears. I wish the graphic would. I wish this had come before the graphic came out for the show, because people are they're gonna tune in tomorrow to listen to us talking about Anthony Fauci. or
And it won't be
or
Ansley and
Mandela
Fauci.
Barnes, and it won't
Well,
be anything about that. So
Well,
we're
yeah,
gonna catch them by
we did get a little bit of Fauci in by saying we plead the fifth.
but
Is that
maybe just
not good enough?
maybe the graphic alone will inspire someone to want to listen, and maybe they'll see the humanity that happened in northeast Wisconsin, and not just northeast Wisconsin, because we got to give some props to the Cajun Navy from down
Oh,
south.
absolutely.
They're sending stuff
They're
up here.
sending-
Samaritan's Purses.
Yep.
They've got people here, so
Yep.
it's not just Wisconsin. Wisconsin's being returned the favor, I think, for all the help that Wisconsin gave the people in the South. Now some of those groups from down there
Pay it forward.
are paying it forward. So, Rob, God bless you for what you did and what
And
you're going to
continue
do
to do.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe we'll come on over. To everybody in the backstage, the people whose hearts I've come to know, we love you and we thank you, because you know what? And Rob talked about it. Rob talked about how he's been inspired by Corey and Tommy and Heather and
Yes. And there are people, I am told that it is still going out on the radio, and it did go out on YouTube tonight. For whatever reason, it did not go out on Rumble. But, we know many people that are listening after the live show. So let's just keep up the good work, everyone. I mean,
yeah, and
it's not always about politics.
Nope, it's not.
about humanity.
And so tomorrow, folks, if you're listening in Green Lake County or Fond du Lac County or any of those communities that I listed before,
Crossroads Market in Green Lake
from noon to 6, but Rob promised that he will be there a little before and probably a little after, and who knows, maybe Screech and Red will be down there for a portion of the afternoon to help Rob fill that trailer.
Absolutely.
And, any of the listeners, if you're in the area and you want to come down and hold up a sign that just says we need donations for the people of Menasha,
to let people know, hey, what's going on over there? I don't understand. I see a bunch of people. We need signs to let people know what we're doing or they're doing.
Let's meet in Green Lake, and we can have a debriefing meal at the end of the day, right? Because I'm sure there are places in Green Lake that we can eat at.
Yeah, I'll just have to cancel my plans for tomorrow evening.
Well,
that's fine too, though, because this is more important.
We'll figure it out, Red. Anyway, we are now. Look at that. We started
there. Hang on. Thank you, Corey. It's at 762 Commercial Avenue in Green Lake, Wisconsin. That's where you can bring your donations.
Crossroad Markets. Fill your car. Find the stuff. And really, it's not going to matter. Rob said non-perishables.
Toiletries.
Think of kids.
Just think of what you need every day to live. That's what they need.
Yeah,
literally, that's what they need.
For some of these people.
Absolutely. I will say, though, I don't know if anybody's taking donations for clothes. And I will say that and I'm going to put this out there as a big if, anybody does bring clothes, please make sure they are laundered, because they're not going to have a way to do that. And don't bring your stuff that needs to go in the trash, because we've seen a lot of that during the beginning of Hurricane Helene, and these people are already devastated enough. Let's not make them feel even worse. So I don't want that to sound ungrateful or harsh, but you got to remember, what would you like to receive? Would you like to receive something that you can put on, because you don't have a washer and a dryer?
And don't think of it as an opportunity to get rid of your trash. Because
Absolutely.
There were people that
there
did
was
that.
Really bad, and it was, I'm sorry, but it was really bad.
But we won't focus on that. We're just going to remind people, don't think of it as a way to get rid of the thing. Think of things that people need, that are going to make them feel good, that are going to uplift their lives. And
they are accepting clothes. Okay,
and
so we'll talk.
And I don't know about boots on the ground. I know if you have one of the trades, they probably need electricians and plumbers and the people with.
Well, and I know Jacob said if anybody, this was Monday night. He said, if you have a chainsaw, come and help. If you happen to have somebody that, or you have it or whatever, a wood chipper, definitely come down and help. But then they will also need dump trucks, which we were able to get JJ in touch with him. So hopefully, they're able to help that way. Because they need to clear out that area so people can go home.
All right, Red. We're done for the week.
Yes, we are. Oh, tomorrow night, Friday,
AJ the Rippin' Rabbit. Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live.
8 p.m. Central.
I don't know what his topic is. I didn't have an opportunity to talk to him, but it's certainly going to be a great show because AJ shows are always great.
Amazing.
It will probably start right on the button at 8 o'clock, unlike us who we stretch it out to 8:30 or 8:26 or whatever it was tonight. Thank you. We apologize for our technical difficulties tonight. I'm not sure what it was.
Okay. And then don't forget, Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. backstage only, not broadcast. It is 2 or more gathering, and we are still in the Book of John. Almost done with it, but
and we need a little bit of that right now.
Absolutely.
We need a lot of prayer. A lot of people need it, including our neighbor Christine. So
Absolutely.
Keep her in your prayers. Red, we're going to stop wasting people's time because
we have a republic to save.
Have a good night, folks. We apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning. Thank you for sticking with us. Have a good night.